everyone, my name is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to talk about roller derby. It's just one of the many things about roller skating that I love, and the sport actually helped kind of push me and my confidence to go on this journey of opening a roller skating rink. So if that's something you want to hear about or are interested in, because there are many different facets to roller skating, please stay tuned. And if you like what you see here, go ahead and like, subscribe, do all that thing as you follow me on this journey of opening a roller skating rink. I'd love to add you to my skating family. So let's just skate right in. If you have heard of roller derby, you might have heard about it. There's some, viral videos on Facebook about what roller derby is, and all these new people that try roller derby, and it's kind of an older sport. It started in Chicago, Illinois in 1935 by Jerry Seltzer, and it has grown into something really amazing now. And there are a couple different types of roller derby. The roller derby I'm going to talk about today is the flat track roller derby. So we skate on a taped down, roped down, taped down track. So what that means is if you've seen the movie Whip It or have heard of the movie Whip It, then you see they skate on this big metal ramp that goes in an oval. And so that is banked track roller derby. That's what a roller derby originally started on, and that's kind of what we call old school roller derby. The style is a little bit different because you are on a ramp, so you have to move differently to keep going, and it's a little bit different gameplay, a little bit different rules, but the premise is the same, whereas you have 4 blockers on the track and a jammer behind those blockers. The whistle blows, the jammer starts and goes around the blockers as many times as possible. Here, I'll actually put in a clip right here to show you what roller derby is. This is called Roller Derby 101.
Roller derby is played in increments called jams. Each jam lasts up to 2 minutes. Both teams field up to 5 skaters at the start of the jam. 4 of these skaters are called blockers, and 1 is called the jammer. The jammer wears a helmet cover with a star on it and scores points for the team. The blockers are playing both offense and defense at the same time, and together they make up what is called the pack. The 2 jammers start each jam behind the pack and must get through all of these skaters for an initial pass before they can begin to score points. When the initial pass is complete, a jammer can score 1 point for every opponent they pass with their hips. The first jammer out of the pack legally is declared lead jammer, which means they can end the jam anytime they want before the 2 minutes are up. Sounds easy, right?
Okay, so now that you kind of have an idea of what roller derby is, that video was made by Watertown. What it's really called is Women's Flat Track Derby Association. We shorten it to Watertown just because it's easier to say than that whole mouthful right there. So the resurgence of flat track roller derby started in, I think, about 2004, 2005, down in Texas, and that's where the Texas Roller Girls were born, and out of that came just an extreme exponential growth of teams around the country wanting to get in on roller derby. So roller derby in South Dakota actually started in Sioux Falls with the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls. If I can't remember exactly. I think they started in 2006, and they are the only sanctioned team in South Dakota. Now, I have a friend who skated on the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls, and she actually was working at the roller skating rink here in town when I used to roller skate there as a teenager. She was one of the guards, the floor guards, and she did kind of a whole bunch of things there. And then she started skating for the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls, which is awesome because she's an amazing skater. So she goes by the name of Applelicious because she is a teacher, and her number was 314. Applelicious, apple pie, get it? Pie, yeah. Okay, anyways, so she skated with the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls, and then in about, I want to say 2011 or so, we had skating parties at the city auditorium, and she would go to them. She would bring her son. I would go because at that point I was a young adult still, but I don't drink, smoke, I don't do anything crazy. So I still went to the roller skating parties any chance I could get because I just love skating. I went to the parties and she's like, oh hey, you should totally join the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls, like play roller derby. And I was like, I don't think I could make practices because practices, you know, were in Sioux Falls. They were an hour and a half away. I just didn't have the time. I was working full time, so I just couldn't commit to it as much as I loved skating. So she tried to recruit me way back in the day, and now I'm kind of like, dang, that would have been neat, but everything happens for a reason. So jump forward a few years, and my friends' daughters were in the Watertown Lions Ice Show, for which I was helping to direct because if it had to do with skating, I was there. So I was helping direct it and do all that, and it was like towards the end of the show, and my friend was like, hey, me and my other two friends are going to have a meeting to start roller derby in Watertown. You should come. I was like, count me in. Yes, I will be there. So I was at the initial meeting. That was in April of 2013. We had quite a big table of us set up, all ready to start roller derby in this wild adventure. So we had our meeting, we did all that, we got our practice place set up, and then we started practice. And I think that was about May of 2013, because they had to melt the ice, clean it off, get the ice arena cleaned out. And so we started practice in May of 2013. Now, I had a pair of skates that lasted like a month or so. They were not great skates. But in that time, I managed to go to Sioux Falls, one of their practices, with these janky ass recreational Chicago roller skates that I bought from Dunham's. And they were like skating with bricks on your feet. So I was fairly unconditioned at that point. I hadn't been really working out a lot for a couple of years. Not hard anyway. I mean, I kind of worked out, but kind of not. So I was fairly unconditioned at that point and was like, okay, I'm still gonna go and have fun. I still need to know like these minimum skills that we have to learn. I need to ask questions. I need to figure stuff out, because they basically handed the coaching position to me on a silver platter, since I was the only one with enough skating experience, let alone coaching experience. So I was handed this position, and I was like, all right, I can teach people how to skate, but we're gonna have to learn the game together, because I still don't fully know all the rules and regulations. We did that. We had our first kind of mixer like skills passing in June of 2013, and then we started skating with the ATown Roller Girls. They were really monumental in helping us out, along with the Midwest Maidens from Brookings, South Dakota. Both of those teams were super helpful. because the ATown Roller Girls had started out a few seasons before we did, and the Midwest Maidens actually started just a few months before we did. We all were kind of in this together. We were both learning things from ATown, and us and Brookings would get together a lot because we are so close, literally like 40 minutes away from each other. In the Midwest, that's like nothing. We have to travel everywhere we go because there's nothing here. We traveled each other to a lot. We played each other all the time. We broke stuff down. We had great coaches on all ends, and we just had a lot of fun together. That is kind of how the Crushers started, and right now we are at 12 players, which is, I think, the most we've ever had. We might be plus or minus, or actually we might be a few more than 12 because we do have some fresh meat that are sort of coming, but they haven't really come yet, so we're still waiting for them. But there was a time when there was only 4 of us on the team, and we had to do everything. From track setup to setting up games, finding refs, non-skating officials, everything. Like 4 of us doing everything, and it was crazy. So I have to say I'm very happy with where we're at now as a team. Like, it's so amazing, and our skill level has just went up, and we just work really well together. We're super cohesive, and we have a fun time, and we're donating a lot of money to the community, which is great. So then jump forward a little bit from when we started, and that's when we started skating with the ATown Roller Girls. As you can see, I have an ATown Roller Girls jersey on now. The ATown Roller Girls from Aberdeen, South Dakota started a few seasons before we did, and so they already had so much good knowledge that we just soaked that up like a sponge. So we started, a couple of us Crushers played our very first game with ATown, or maybe it was my first game that I played with ATown, and some of the other girls on my team played another game before I did, but my first game with ATown was in March of 2014. That was in Fargo against the Fargo Moorhead Derby girls, and that game was intense. They're a sanctioned team. They're the only sanctioned team in, or they were the only sanctioned team in North Dakota. Now there's 2 of them there. And so they were tough. They had a lot of great players, and actually a lot of those players now went or are skating on currently Division 1 or Division 2 teams, which is great. Like, those are the teams that are going to champs here in November. So we got our butts beat. It was like 300 to 50 something. Like, it was crazy. I was dying on the track. Like, I needed so much more to work on. But they were awesome. It was my first ever MVP Jammer Award. MVPs are given to other players from one team to the other, in like recognition of how well you did, or if you skated good, or you're super low on penalties, good sport, whatever. So that was my first MVP Jammer Award. I still have it. I love it. And I will forever be thankful to the ATown Roller Girls for letting us skate with them against Fargo. We skated with the ATown Roller Girls about starting in 2014. They helped us with a lot of things. We learned a lot of things, and we absorbed some of those things into our team. And so we skated with them for quite a few years, and then we did take a break from skating with each other for a while, just because our own teams had stuff to figure out. And then I believe it was last year that we started skating with each other again, and it's been amazing ever since. We are an unstoppable force, I like to say, or think anyways. We're just really cohesive together. We're still two separate teams, but when we're traveling somewhere and we need extra players, then we have the protocol that we can always call on each other, and we are each other's team basically. So it's a really nice collaborative effort to have that. So the next team I then skated for was the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls. I started skating with the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls in approximately July of 2016. They needed more skaters for a Division I game against the No Coast Derby girls out of Lincoln, Nebraska, and so they needed to pull players from other smaller teams like, you know, us and ATown, their higher level skaters, to the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls to skate with them against this higher level Division I team. At the time, they were ranked like 21st out of the entire Woofdada thing, and so we knew going into this game that it was going to be hard, but we were just going to give it our all anyway. So I did my very best that I could at the time with training, and that's kind of when I also started to change my diet, which actually, looking back, might have not been the ideal time to try to change my diet, because we played No Coast, and whoo, man, we got blown out of the water. It was like triple digit score to, I don't even know if we broke 20. Like, it was so, oh man, it was like the craziest big point spread. If I can find a picture of the score, I will definitely post that right here, but I can't remember if anyone, I would think that Lincoln, that No Coast, got a picture of the score, but it was insane. So since Sioux Falls is the only sanctioned team in South Dakota, there were certain requirements I had to meet their rostering policy, since the rules are different for sanctioned teams per games as your roster goes. So I had to, me, Tatted Sinner, my derby wife, one of my derby wives on the Crushers team, and Crimson Splatter, who is the main, I don't want to say the main, but she's the like captain and stuff of the ATown Roller Girls. We were all asked to skate with the dolls for that game, so we had to make a certain number of practices in Sioux Falls and also meet our own team's attendance policy. We had a lot to do and figure out for that, and I have to say, you know, we skated with them till May of 2018 was my last game with the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls. At that point, I had already been in school for a year, and I had another year left, and I just didn't have the time basically to do all this, you know, driving for practice and everything. So I unfortunately, or depending on how you look at things, had to, you know, take a step back and just really focus on Northeast South Dakota Derby. And while I was on the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls, it was just, again, another chance for me to grow, play sanctioned teams that were kind of at a higher level than some of the other teams I had been playing. It was a good time while it lasted, and I'm glad I got to do it. And now this year, the Compesca Crushers are taking on the Sioux Falls Roller Dolls for our August 31st game. So that is going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be really competitive, and I'm really looking forward to that season closer of our game, and I'm just I just love to play, and I just love to play roller derby. One thing I can say that roller derby has done for me is it has given me so much confidence. Before this, I never used to speak out. I never used to be loud. I don't know if I want to say I'm loud, but I used to not speak out my mind. I never used to swear. I was kind of quiet and shy and timid, and granted, sometimes I'm still shy, and I'm definitely still an introvert, because being around a lot of people takes a lot of energy out of me. But now I am not quite as scared to talk to people. I'm not as afraid of taking chances. I have more confidence that I can do this skating rink business and be successful in it. It has vastly expanded my network of people and resources I can call and talk to. It's given me so much more than just playing a sport. My blood sugars are under much better control. My strength and fitness is like great compared to what it used to be. I'm probably gonna live a lot longer now. It spreads a lot of positivity and joy. We get out in the community, and it's just like given me so much more than just what joining a sport or skating could be. Now with that, you're probably like, okay, so the fun parts of roller derby, what's that about? Okay, so there are fun parts of roller derby, like my makeup is very exciting today, but you know, you are free to express who you are in roller derby. It's fun. It's kind of what we call a second chance sport, whereas you don't have to be an athlete coming in. You don't have to be anything other than willing to put in the time to come to practice and work hard. Those who don't put in the time or the effort or the practice don't really make it too far in derby. Granted, it's fun and it's a second chance sport, and depending on if it's a sanctioned team or not a sanctioned team, it's either recreational or it's a very serious sport for you. And so those are kind of a few things that I like to have fun with my makeup in roller derby. There is absolutely no reason that you can't love this and be athletic at the same time. Now, another fun thing about roller derby is our derby names. Those, again, they're kind of optional. You don't need a derby name. You can just go by your last name. But since we are like an unconventional sport, we typically pick derby names. It's like our persona, kinda. So my derby name is Chemical X. My number is 58. Chemical X comes from the show The Powerpuff Girls. That's the like old school 90s, early 2000s Powerpuff Girls. I just love that show so much. We were watching Cartoon Network, and I was literally trying to think of my derby name, and then the theme song comes on.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl. But Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction.
And then he says it.
Chemical X.
And it went off like fireworks in my head. I'm like, that's my derby name right there. Chemical X. And then I went on to do a little more research on the Powerpuff Girls, and originally Chemical X was a can of whoop ass. So I like to think, and I think everyone likes to think when they skate against me, that I'm opening up a can of whoop ass when I skate against them. and that's a really fun part of my derby name. But just going on about how I love derby and it's done such amazing things for me. That's just one aspect of roller skating that is amazing. There are many different disciplines of roller skating that I love and that I'll be going further into on to my channel here. Wow, can't talk. If you guys have any comments or questions on roller derby, throw them in the comments below. I am going to link my roller derby teams page, the Compesca Crushers YouTube page here. I edit I record and edit a lot of our games so we can watch them, we can get feedback on how we skated, you know, how we can do better, what we did good, all of those. And because the more we can get roller skating and roller derby and roller sports out into the public, the more excited they can be to know about it. I think that's all I have for today. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of the summer day. I might go work out. Who knows, maybe I might get on the trail and go trail skating tonight. I don't know. But I love you guys and I will see you later. Bye!